Crowd that came out today. Love this crowd.
Appreciate you guys.
We have scarlet, we have gray, we have burnt orange. We've got everything here today, and we have guests from both sides of the rivalry. Make sure you stick with us over about the next 90 minutes. We have Braxton Miller going to join us on set. We have Jack Sawyer going to join us on set. We have Mack Brown, national champion coach of the Texas Longhorns. We have Vince Young, one of the best players in the history of college football. Both sides represented on this special live edition of The Script. Also want to give a shout out to our sponsors today making this possible for us. We have, of course, our friends from Prime Sportsbook. We have Wendy's, we have Buckeye Basement Solutions, and Dr. Pepper making this whole event possible today, and also showing off their new stuff. All right, Dr. Pepper is bottled right here in Columbus, Ohio. Make sure you try out their new flavor, Dr. Pepper Blackberry, regular and sugar-free. We had some earlier. It's fantastic. So let's get into it, guys. Let's talk about the biggest game in college football this weekend. The #1 ranked Texas Longhorns coming to the Shoe for a noon kickoff. And the big story, Cardale, I'll start with you because you're my quarterback. Julian Sayin, all right, with all due respect to Youngstown State or my Kent State Golden Flashes, he's opening with someone who really, really matters. This is not your ideal run out for a first-time starting quarterback. So what is Julian Sayin feeling the night before this pass rush and this Texas Longhorns team?
You know what? I think he's a little nervous, and I don't think nervous in a bad way. I think he's more anxious to get out there and put on a show. I mean, he was highly recruited, and I think Arch is in the same boat. I know we're going to get a little bit deeper in that and later on in the show, but if I was him, been in his shoes before, making my first start in the Big Ten championship game with all the implications that was affiliated with that game, it was more so being excited and anxious to get out there and get this game started and really get that first pop to get your nerves calmed down.
Yeah, this quarterback competition started back in the spring with Lincoln Keenholz. It went into the fall. Finally, Ryan Day, a week ago on Monday, said it's Julian Sayin. And Beanie, it makes sense because he was brought here from Alabama, and he had the best arm talent in the country as a high school senior. He goes to Bama. Nick Saban retires. He comes up to your Ohio State. Is he ready for this moment? Because this is a big, big moment, and debuting in this kind of game is not ideal.
You know what? I don't care what rankings the individual has. You're never going to know if they're ready until they get out there in a situation where the bullets are live and the stadium is roaring. So, I mean, I'd like to think he is, obviously, you know, based off of his track record and him, you know, having the obvious talent to be a starting quarterback at Ohio State. But to ask if he's ready for this environment, it's going to be something crazy. And not just the fact that he's going to be playing at home in front of his home crowd, but he's going against a Texas defense that has a bunch of returning talent. Yeah. They got some playmakers off the edge. One of the freshmen of the year, a guy that won freshman over our superstar freshman, Jeremiah Smith.
Colin Simmons.
Yeah, so most certainly he's going to have his work cut out for him.
Yeah, well, you mentioned Jeremiah Smith, and I guess, Cardale, if there's a silver lining on a first start, you have the best wide receiver core in America. And Jeremiah Smith, actually, earlier this week on the Triple Option Urban Meyer's podcast, he said he thinks this year's wide receivers are better than last year's wide receivers. Now, there's a Tampa Bay Buccaneer right now by the name of Rebecca Buka who's turning all sorts of heads in training camp. Yeah. What do you think about that? Is that Jeremiah just getting puffed up chest the night before an opener? I mean, that's crazy talk to think that they're even better this year.
It's crazy to see that Ohio State receiver corps continue to get better each and every year. I think when you look at the track record of Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, Marvin Harrison Jr., you say to yourself at the end of the season, man, it's not going to get better than that. And they continue to get better. Now you look at guys like Brandon Ennis and Carnell Tate and some of these young freshmen coming in to fill in some of these roles. Well, they've been in this system for 2.5, 3 years. So I expect these guys to pick up right where these guys left off at last year with the production of the Mecca. And he's got an up-close personal view of these guys every single day. If he's saying it, I'm believing it.
Yeah, and we know what to expect out of the wide receivers. They will be ready. I do have question marks at running back because you lose Travion Henderson and Quinshon Judkins. You have another two-headed monster coming in C.J. Donaldson and James People. So, Beanie, you're my resident running back on set. How do you feel about this new 1-2 punch, having never seen them in real live game action except for a few carries here and there?
You know, I'm excited. Obviously, we got a chance to see C.J. Donaldson when he played at West Virginia, if you watch college football in its totality. So we know he's a hard-nosed runner, a bruiser, but you're replacing Quinshon Judkins and Travion Henderson. That's
2,000-yard rushers.
Exactly. Not an easy task. With 2,000-yard rushers, 2,000-yard receivers, something this offense did, which hadn't been done at a lot of universities. But nonetheless, when we talk about Travion Henderson and his ability to hit the home run from anywhere on the field, can take a 2-yard hitch 90 yards at any given moment, I don't think these guys possess that threat, at least not yet. I most certainly think that they're very capable. I mean, we look at, Ohio State and where we've been in the tradition of running backs. We're not going to trot just anybody out there on the football field. You're definitely going to have to be very capable of being a guy that can help this offense produce at a high rate. So I'm excited from that standpoint. But nonetheless, when you replace the guys that we just mentioned, it's going to be a hard and tall task.
It's really cool when you look at the schedule here, guys, because these two schools have only met 4 times in over 100 years, and yet we get them twice in the same calendar, 2 times in a 3-game stretch, which is really nuts. First off, shout out to both ADs for bringing this on, because I think this is good for college football. And to me, this is the good part about the expanded playoff, is you don't have to be quite as afraid of dropping a game like this, because someone's going to lose a football game tomorrow. It's going to be Texas, but someone has to lose a football game.
Of course.
I'm just saying. Love to play to the home crowd here. So twice in 3 games, Cardale, how much can you take from the Cotton Bowl? Because it is Arch Manning and not Quinn Ewers. New coordinators, at least on Ohio State's side, some new personnel. But what can you take from the Cotton Bowl that we'll see tomorrow?
I think if I'm Texas going into this game, I'm expecting to see very similar style of offense from Ohio State as Brian Hartline take over as a full-time offensive coordinator. But he's been in the system for 8 years now, so he's very familiar with it. I expect the offense terminology from schemes to be very similar to what Chip has done. And ultimately, this is still Ryan Day's offense, really. They're just putting their sprinkle onto it. And then on the flip side, the defensive side of things, as I'm Texas getting prepared for their defense, that's going to be the biggest change, because they're welcoming not just 7 new starters, but they also walking in a whole new defensive scheme with Matt Patricia coming in as a new defensive coordinator. So that's where the biggest adjustment in game planning will happen. Ultimately, as well, you're breaking in pretty much a new quarterback. I know Arch has been in Texas for 3 years now, but he has never been a full-time starting quarterback for this university without having to look over his shoulder and say, hey, if I get this opportunity, is Quinn going to be in for next game? Or if I'm in here just because Quinn is hurt? This is his show now, right? So how do you get him comfortable getting ready to execute a high-powered game plan versus a team like Ohio State?
Yeah, you could see it in the NFL, Beanie, where you play a team twice in 3 games, but it's even rare in the NFL standards. But to see it in college, I mean, maybe it could have happened if you played Wisconsin late in the year and get them again at Lucas Oil. We haven't seen this, though. Twice in 3 games, these non-conference opponents. How do you think that matters tomorrow, or does it matter?
I think it definitely matters. I mean, from a standpoint of when you're looking at it and you're scouting a team and you want to go to the schematics, if you're Ohio State, you probably feel like you got a little bit of advantage because they don't have a lot of turnover, especially when you talk about the players and the coaching staff. So they're going to run the same type of system that you just saw a couple of months ago. They're going to have a lot of the same players. Yes, a different quarterback, but the skill set is kind of similar to Quinn Ewers. So I think it helps us from that standpoint. But again, when you go out and you lose a game like Texas did, they're going to be a lot more motivated. They're going to be a hungrier football team to go in and right the ship, in which they didn't get a chance to do last year. So on the double-edged sword, one, you feel more comfortable and confident from a schematic standpoint, but the other side is like, whoa, they're going to come in humming.
They want some revenge.
Because they want that revenge.
Yeah, I mean, you beat them down in their house in a game that mattered. No doubt Texas is going to come in here angry, probably more experienced. I mean, a lot of people picking Texas to win this. I think of 2 guys in the trailer behind me who will probably pick Texas later. We'll find out soon enough. But we're just getting started here on a live edition of The Script, the podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. When we return, it is time to give the burnt orange fans here something to cheer about. We're going to bring out Vince Young and Mack Brown on the other side of the break.
Game on. Game on. on.
Of the Script, the podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. We are now joined by two of the best to ever don the burnt orange. We have national champion head coach Mack Brown and national champion quarterback Vince Young. All right, Vince, I'm gonna start with you because so much of this game, the hype on Arch Manning, and we here in Columbus hear that Arch Manning is a projected #1 pick in the NFL draft next year, which sounds crazy to me because he hasn't even played a full season yet. You guys are a little closer to it. So the Arch Manning hype versus reality. Where do you come down on the future of Arch Manning?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it comes with playing at the University of Texas. That's how it is. That's, pretty much at Texas football is an NFL team in Austin. So when you come onto campus to play that position, you're going to get all the accolades. You're going to get all the hype. You're going to get all that type of stuff because our standards are very high. You got guys like Chris Sims. You got guys like Applewhite, Streets. You got the legendary quarterbacks that have came through there and did a lot of things at that position. So, and then he has that last name, Manning. Come on now. Come on now. So, I mean, what I like about Arch, man, he's just a humble kid. He has said it in the media. He doesn't want nothing to do with that. All he cares about is his teammates and going out there and earning it and proving it to himself as well as the UT Nation as well as his teammates. So I like how he's humble and he's not worried about what the media is talking about.
It's Julian saying against Arch Manning, but it's really Ohio State against Texas Cardale. I think about the national title game when you went against Marcus Mariota. He just won the Heisman. Do you ever get suckered in, truthfully, to my quarterback against their quarterback thing, or are you able to table that when you're out on the field?
Yeah, not necessarily. You table that when you get out there on the field because you're trying to do whatever you have to do to help your team in an offensive manner. Now, if they would have put Marcus Mariota on defense, now I'd have took that personal. That's a whole different situation. But no, because you got situations where, a quarterback may outperform the other quarterback, but long as my team get the win, I don't care what the stat line ultimately tells of that story. As long as I'm doing my job to help my team get that win. But Vince made a great point. You come to places like Texas, you come to places like Ohio State, and this Ohio State is Columbus and is really Ohio's professional sport. Mm-hmm. When you're really thinking about it, it's just like that in Austin with UT. So the expectations are always extremely high being a quarterback and a head coach at these universities. And that's why you see they have so much great tradition because led by great players at those two positions, at the coaching position and the quarterback.
Yeah, when you have the Browns and Bengals,
no
you better be the pro
backs.
team. You better be the pro team.
It'll be easy on my Browns there now.
They're all of our Browns, sadly.
Well, and let me say, if Marcus Mariota had been a safety, he'd been good at that too.
Yeah,
I
would think
so.
He's really good.
So.
All right, Coach, let's get you into this conversation. 2005, you came up here, and you did too, Vince. I want to ask you about that 2005 game. Vince, you throw a game-winning touchdown pass at the end of the game. Coach, what do you remember about the atmosphere here in Columbus that day when you guys beat the Buckeyes?
I think it's the best I've ever seen. We sat there at night. It is. The passion here. I talked to Coach Tressel, who I love and admire, before the game, and he and I said, the programs are so similar. Yeah. They're both in the capital. There's so much pressure, pride about these football programs, and they are like the pro team in Austin and Columbus. And you got pressure. You don't come here to lay down now. You come here for these type games, and it was really interesting. We played at night, and it'll be interesting to see the difference in a noon game because Texas is going to fly in tonight. They're going to go to bed. Right. They're going to get up. They're going to eat at 7 o'clock. They'll be at the stadium at 10 and kicking off at 12. Vince had to get in here in the afternoon. We had a walkthrough. The band was out there cussing us before the game. John Cooper came out. In fact, they cussed us so much, I went down and said, I'd love to see you dot the I, man. That'd be so cool. So they actually liked us better before we left. But Vince had all day. That's a long day now when you get up and hurry up and wait, and then you get there and you got 106,000 that really don't like you. Yeah. And they're speaking their truth to you as you're walking in. Vince was talking about I said, put your helmet on before you walk out. He said, why? Then they're throwing stuff at him. But it is a tremendous amount of pressure. Just think, these two teams don't have an identity yet. Mm-hmm. They've got things that people have talked about them, but they don't have it. They don't know who they are. When we leave here at 4 o'clock tomorrow, both teams are going to know who they are, and they're going to know what they got to fix. Now, unlike us, the BCS, you lose a game, you're out.
You're done.
Clemson loses to Georgia last year and still gets to the playoffs. So tomorrow is an opening ball game that's really important, but it doesn't kill either team's season.
And you want to add to that, and you can't be thinking about the team last year. That is not who you are.
Completely different teams.
A completely different team. Congratulations to Ohio State for winning the championship. That's awesome.
What a classy guy.
If I knew you guys was on a mission when y'all had that fight at Michigan.
After the game.
I feel like that momentum shifted for you guys, and then didn't nobody want to play y'all. Even when I knew we was matching up to, I'm like, it's going to be a long damn game right here. But a lot of respect to you guys, but at the same time, as the Texas Longhorns and Ohio State, they got to understand that identity that y'all had last year is not who you are. That is gone. Quinn is gone. Everybody, I think y'all had 9 to 10 players go to the NFL.
14, but who's counting?
Yeah, 14. Well, hey, I'm going to keep it honest. It's like 13 to 14. I mean, it's like 11, you know what I mean? So I'm messing with you. But you got to understand that.
9, 10, 14.
One tied the record, the other is a lower number. It's fine.
Yeah. So, they got to understand that. And what coach is saying and what everybody's saying, like, you got to go out there and figure out who you are and your identity is. And tomorrow is the perfect time to do that.
You go to 2006 then, and then Ohio State goes down to your place, Coach, and Ohio State gets the win in pretty impressive fashion. And
yeah, I don't remember that.
Remember? Well, let me jog your memory.
No, I just don't.
I'll jog it. It was Colt McCoy's first start. And what's crazy about it is Colt McCoy, when he leaves Texas, is the winningest quarterback in college football history, since passed by Kellen Moore. But when he left, he was the winningest player. And he got throttled that first game by Ohio State. Now, the reason I'm bringing it up is because Julian Sayin, in his home stadium, is in the same exact spot. Might be a great quarterback, but this is a scary opener. So what do you remember about Colt McCoy that day and what it's like to open with a game like this?
Well, we had just won the national championship, as Ohio State did, and then they're handing out rings in the summer. So it's really hard to put that behind you.
Yeah.
It's hard to win a national championship. When you do, it's why most people don't win. I think Coach Day's done a tremendous job saying, put your rings away. Just leave it alone. It's good. It's in the past. This team hadn't done anything. But the pressure on Julian Sayin in this ball game at home for the first time, he completed 5 passes for 12, 5 out of 12 last year.
Yeah.
5 out of 12. And he's going against one of the best defenses in the country. And where Arch has at least played in tough games in critical situations. Played against Ohio State last year in a game that really mattered. Julian hadn't yet. So I think that's going to be, can Julian keep his composure? When Vince came in here in 2005, he was a man. He had played a bunch of ball. So, and that was a defensive battle.
Yeah.
But we didn't lose the game.
A.J. Hawk, goddamn. Can somebody block A.J. Hawk? Goddamn.
Yeah. That's Vince's conversation when he would come to the boundary. Do we not have anybody to block A.J. Hawk?
Yeah.
Did you mention to them he's pretty good? But I think that's the key to this ball game is which quarterback's going to manage the game, not try to do too much, and turn the ball over.
A few years later in the 2009 Fiesta Bowl, you guys get the Buckeyes again. You win that game.
I remember that.
Yeah, now you're back.
I bet you do.
Suddenly,
Dave, at what point do you stop reminding them of good things?
You know what?
Please, come on.
Let me remind you of something. A guy named Chris Wells that day ran for 106 yards in that Fiesta Bowl.
All right. Thank you.
So give me some memories of that day, Beanie, when you guys won against the Longhorns in the Fiesta.
Oh, I remember being pumped up about that football game. Obviously, understanding, Texas and their rich history of winning and being a great program. Having, I want to say he probably won all types of awards this year in Colt McCoy because he had a sensational game when we played him in 06, and he was just coming into his own in this ball game here by the time we played him. But knowing they had a team stacked full of high caliber players, and I was just pumped up to go against them in the Fiesta Bowl, and excited to try to right the ship on the season that we all thought we had a national championship caliber team, and we didn't quite get there.
Yeah, Cardale, what's it like when you play one of these games, a big non-conference? Because in general, your Big Ten opponents.
Yeah.
And they saw him in the Cotton Bowl last year, but it's a different vibe when you get one of these blue bloods like this in a non-conference.
Well, this is what it was like when you play one of these games. We about 16 hours from kickoff, and we have an unbelievable crowd here joining us live for the show. And as I scan through the crowd, and I see some former Buckeyes like J.T. Barrett, Jalen Holmes, JTT, I think you guys know who that guy is, right? Texas Nation, right? And then Ty Hamilton, and I see Donovan Jackson. It's unbelievable. So these type of games bring the stars out, and I guarantee you, Matthew McConaughey is going to be on the sideline tomorrow. Yep. So the stars are going to be out for Texas as well. The stars are going to be out for Texas as well. But getting ready for a game like this is like none other, because who's to say when next time you're going to have opportunity to play this caliber opponent? This is once every 10 years. I know we're going to see these guys. We saw them twice in the last 3 games for Ohio State, but this is a rare situation, and this is an opportunity to go out there and really etch your name in college football history for each of these universities.
Okay, everyone on stage here could be accused of being a homer. It is college football. It's the only thing more tribalistic than politics is college football.
Agree.
But let's do this. I want every guy on set to tell me your biggest concern about your team. What's your biggest nitpick concern? So Vince, let's start with you. When you look at the 2020's Longhorns,
hold on, wait, let me
most?
record it.
Yeah, then we're going to clip this on social. We're going to
send it to Sark.
Yeah, what worries you about the Longhorns?
Oh, man, I just the red zone. We didn't do good in the red zone last year against big schools, great opponents. We didn't do good against Georgia in the SEC championship. We didn't do good against you guys. So that's going to be a major factor. And I hope that coach did a really good job doing a training camp, making sure that he was, going in about the emphasis of how important it is when you get in the red zone against a school like this at a hostile environment like that. So I say the red zone going to be a major deal for me for tomorrow.
I remember Ohio State scoring a touchdown when you were in the red zone last year in the Cotton Bowl. I'm just saying, I think Jack Sawyer had, we'll talk to Jack about that later. All right, Beanie, let's bring the Buckeyes down a notch here. What's your biggest concern about this Ohio State team?
You know what? There's so many different new faces on this football team that I'm kind of concerned about, but none more than the defensive line. I look around, and Cardale just mentioned a bunch of names here. Jack Sawyer, JTT, Ty Hamilton.
They ain't coming down that tunnel tomorrow.
Our starting defensive line is here in this crowd. So, that question mark is who is going to provide the pressure for Ohio State. Are we going to provide enough pressure on Arch Manning, a quarterback that is very good delivering the ball, standing in the pocket, that can escape the pocket as well? That's the biggest question mark for me. Are we going to get enough pressure to win this football game?
Mack, I know you've had many sleepless nights as a head coach. So if this was your team the night before the opener, what would be keeping you awake tonight?
It would be the 4 new offensive linemen for Texas. And you're not sure who you're playing against in the defensive line.
Yeah.
And then you've got to run the ball well enough to get your young quarterback started so you can get him some throws to make sure that he has confidence going through. But new receivers, new offensive linemen, can you run the ball? And can you run the ball well enough to protect, to let Arch have some plays? The good thing is he's mobile. He can run. So he can get away if somebody misses a block up front.
Cardale?
And I did see when Beanie was talking about that game in the Fiesta Bowl.
Yeah.
That was Terrell Pryor that was the young quarterback, and we were trying to stop Beanie so Terrell wouldn't be able to throw, and we couldn't stop Beanie. So we didn't make Terrell throw that night.
Yeah. All right, Cardale, what are you worried about with these Buckeyes?
I think it's a package of the breaking in a new offensive coordinator with Hartline, right? And then breaking in a new quarterback with Julian Sand as well is my biggest what-if moment. I wouldn't say concern because, one, the thing is, usually your offensive coordinator is your quarterback coach. He's spending more time with you. Well, he got his hands full of coaching 10 to 12 different receivers in that receiving room. So he's not getting too much of that intimate time, Vince, as you building with your offensive coordinator once he's your quarterback coach as well. So what is that connection is going to be like? Is he going to have the ability to really calm Julian down and really understand how to get him in the rhythm to help him really have success in this game? And then Julian, on the flip side of that, what are you going to do when you get sacked? What are you going to do when you get hit in the mouth, right? Only things that we've been seeing of him outside of all the hype was the mop-up duty opportunities, and 5 for 12 is not going to cut it in this game, like Coach Brown mentioned earlier. So those are my biggest 2 questions going in here. How are those 2 guys are going to get in sync early, because you don't want to get behind the sticks with this Texas defensive line. That Colin Simmons and the rest of those guys, they are nasty.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be a great game tomorrow. Thanks again to the live crowd for coming out here today.
Appreciate you guys.
People watching us on YouTube. Also, shout out to Dr. Pepper, bottled right here in Columbus. Try their new flavor, Dr. Pepper Blackberry in regular or zero sugar. We have more with the guys from the Stampede Podcast and from the Script Podcast coming up next. Stay with us live here on YouTube.
Game on. Game on.
Welcome back to a special live edition of The Script, the podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Shout out to our sponsors making this possible today, Buckeye Basement Solutions, Wendy's, as well as Prime Sportsbook, and Dr. Pepper. Make sure you try their new flavor, Dr. Pepper Blackberry in regular or zero sugar, bottled right here in Columbus. It's a pepper thing. All right, something really cool about these two programs, guys, is I would argue that the two best games in college football history were played by these programs. And I'm talking about the 2003 Fiesta Bowl, Ohio State against Miami, and then the 2005 Rose Bowl, USC against Texas. So, Coach, you've been in a big game.
Texas against USC.
Yeah, sorry, I got it backwards. Yes,
and Ohio State against Miami.
Yes, I just paid reverence.
This is his first day. He's a little nervous, guys. He's a little nervous.
You guys can guide him. You can
help
him along. He's nervous.
So, I know the coaches love to give the old cliche, same preparation, yada, yada, yada. But is there any extra juice in preparation, in vibes leading up to a game like this?
Absolutely. What you've got great players. You got to put them in position to perform, and you got to make sure they're confident, they're fresh, they're in shape, and they're ready to go. So the coach's body language has to be really important because these guys can read you like a book. If I'm sitting over here tonight biting my fingernails, they know it's not good, brother.
Yeah.
But so you got to have fun. This is a game of fun, and we sit there and say, okay, we need to have fun, we need to relax, need to laugh. Hey, shut up. Don't listen to music. You focus.
Yeah.
Then you know you're in trouble. So between now and game time, the coaches are trying to get the guys, you've worked so hard in the offseason. These guys work so hard. You've prepared so hard in the summer. Preseason is a grind. Now let's go have fun. Let's go see who we are. Let's show everybody who we are. We're really good. Don't have to do any more than we can do. Let's be us. And then let Texas take care of itself if you're Ohio State or vice versa.
And Vince, when you played here in 2005, Coach was talking about the noise. As a quarterback, what was it like that night trying to communicate in front of that crowd?
It was definitely tough. But, Coach did a really good job the week before, prior up to the game. He had speakers at practice, and he had it turned all the way up. I'm like, Coach, really? We had practice, but he wanted to make sure that we practiced like it was a game situation. And I really feel like that helped us. And, staying on the same page with my offensive line, with my wide receivers, going through our signals. That's a major thing for a quarterback. You got to make sure everybody on the same page. So, what the guys got to do tomorrow, what Sane and Arch got to do. A lot of people don't understand. With all of the excitement, with all the emotions, with all the hoopla, all these things go on the first game. And you get in the game, you jump outside. Okay, now we first and 15, which we all know first and 15 in college or in the pros is hard as shit.
and against these defenses,
and against these type of guys. And then you get a false start or you get a guy fumble a ball. That's what we want to do as quarterbacks. When we step out there, we want to hey, let's make sure we get everybody under control. Let's calm down. Let's relax. We've been in this position. Let's just go out and play football. And hopefully those guys do that and they go out and have both sides of the ball, go out and have a good time and play the game that they love.
I want to get all four of your take on this because the college football traditionalist in me, and I'm pretty traditional when it comes to college football because I love it. I think the pageantry and everything is what makes it unique. I was skeptical when they expanded the playoff field. I didn't love the idea of it, and I think a few teams last year probably weren't playoff teams, and we saw some duds in the first round. The part I like about it, though, is that schools should not be afraid of these games now in this era. So I'll start with Beanie. Let's just go around the horn here. Your thoughts on how an expanded football kind of meshes with games like this, and is it good that tomorrow the losing team is still has a season ahead of it?
It's great. We're going to get more quality play across the board when we have games like this. We're not only games like this, but with the college football playoff being expanded, everybody's going to get a chance. No longer is it like the BCS or one game knocks you out of contention, or you're in a situation to where you want to schedule cupcakes non-conference because you don't want to risk having a blemish on your record and you being judged by that blemish. So I love it for the state of college football, for it to be expanded, and it gives everybody a neutral opportunity to get into the college football playoff and be fighting for what everybody wants, and that's a national championship at the end of the year.
Yeah, you've kind of been on both sides of it because you guys dropped the game to Va Tech, got in and won it all, and then the next year the team's probably better. The year you lost to Michigan State, they're probably a better team, and then you got on the outside looking in.
Yeah, for sure, because back then it was like you rather lose early into a decent team than late to a great team, and that wasn't fair for teams who maybe had that one blemish later on in the season. So I think the 12-team playoffs gives you an opportunity for that Cinderella story, like a Boise State getting the first round bye. Now they changed the rules because of that. We want to make sure we try to still do our best job of getting the best 12 teams in those 12 slots, and with different implications. But it's great for college football. I am not for expanding more than 12. We already at that because it eats into the offseason a little bit too much. 12 teams is perfect, and we saw how and why you don't want to let an early loss like Ohio State, Oregon, losing to Oregon early, then ultimately to Michigan as well, hurt your record because clearly they're still one of the top 12 teams in the country.
I'm sure Coach, you, and I'm sure Coach Tressel, I'm sure Urban Meyer probably look back at a few of their teams and think, man, if only we had the expanded playoff back then.
Yeah, but the night we won here, I thought Ohio State was the other team that if they had won that night, and we're down to a play at the end of the game, then they would have played for the national championship instead of us. But after that night, they really didn't have a chance to get back. And I do think the other thing we need to do is we need to listen to players. That body takes a hit when you're playing a 12-team playoff. Who are you going to play in preseason? When do you start the season? How many open dates do you have? What about the conference championship game? So you got, Vince and I talked about this 2 weeks ago, you got to listen to the players because they're the ones that have to play. And that's really, really important as we go through it. And you just saw the SEC go to 9 in-conference games. That's to keep the teams from playing gimmies outside of the league. Yep. So you're going to be playing better teams now, and it's going to hurt the lesser teams because they're not going to be able to win their 7 games to go to a bowl game like they used to because they're going to have to play better teams. So I think we're seeing better competition across the board and I think that's good. And I also think now we'll see more games like this, and LSU going to Clemson, and Alabama going to Florida State, since the season's not over if you lose tomorrow in those games.
Vince is like, what's the problem? Just run the table, win the BCS. I do.
Yeah.
Just don't lose. Just don't lose.
Yeah, just don't lose. But I love it. I love it. I mean, you know, one of the things we talked about, what they starting to think about was the play-in. You know, the NBA does it, and I like that. Now you really put it in the players and team hands now. But I love the playoffs. I mean, I love it. I enjoy watching it. I miss the game so much. I wish we had the playoffs, man, because you got to do it in the pros anyway.
Yeah.
And one thing that you guys and everybody that's sitting up here, we love the game so much. When we have to play that last game, we like, shit, I want to play another one.
Yeah.
But you got to wait till the next year to play again. So me, you know, especially as Texas, and I know you guys feel the same way at Ohio State, like, you want to play these big games. You want to compare to the Floridas and the guys that you never played up against because they in another conference and things like that. So I'm happy that they got the 12 teams in there, and I hope they bring in the play-in to, you know, to keep the ones that's upset. Now we're going to give you a chance. You get your butt whooped. That's what we was trying to tell you. You shouldn't be here anyway. But I love that they starting to think about the play-in, so it puts it in everybody's hands. But I do love the 12-team playoff.
And these guys talk about these games more than they do the others.
100%. Yeah.
If you're playing a group of 5 team, you don't even remember it.
And
but
no
these
offense,
games separate.
And no offense to the group of 5, but you know it's been a big argument this past offseason with Buckeye Nation and Buckeye fans about what do you rather do, beat your rivals or win a national title? Well, when you look at the history of your rivals, you're going to have a chance to play them every year, and you want to keep winning every year, but you're not going to be in a position to say you're competing for a national title every year. So the argument lives. I think the argument is dead. I'd rather have a national title than beating my rivals, but thank God I didn't have to pick. Thank God I didn't have to pick.
Cardinals,
I'm glad I have to pick either because I don't know which way I go with that.
Well, we think both these teams are going to be in the running for that national championship trophy right behind Beanie Wells. So let's get our Dr. Pepper predictions. Beanie, your Dr. Pepper prediction tomorrow. Who wins and what?
Oh, man. It's going to be a tough ball game. Both of these teams have unbelievable talent, unbelievable coaches. But I got to go Ohio State wins this one in a close matchup, 24-28.
Oh, you got to win this thing is spread. Okay. Clearly, I got Ohio State. I got Ohio State 27-24.
Okay. How about you, Vince?
I got my Longhorns, baby.
Oh, no.
I got my Longhorns. 24-17. Let's go! I had to stand up, baby. You know, I had to stand up.
We were friends for a good half hour, Vince. Yeah. It was a good run we had. How about you, Coach?
That guy.
Who do you like here?
I'm going with the Longhorns at 28-21.
Okay. So it's 2-2. I guess I'll break the tie. It's Ohio State 27-21. Buckeyes going to win this thing.
And where do you live?
I live in Ohio. 42 of my
Security.
42 years.
Security. Can we get this guy out of here?
And once again, guys, if you don't listen to him, Vince and Mack are on the Stampede podcast. It's fantastic. Make sure you download and subscribe. All right.
Thank you, guys.
Once again, give it up for Vince Young and Mack Brown, everyone. And we'll be right back with more script coming up next.
Game on. Game on. Game on.
The Scripted Podcast on the Ohio State Buckeye. Shout out to our sponsors, Prime Sportsbook, Wendy's, Buckeye Basement Solution, and Dr. Pepper. Make sure you try that new Dr. Pepper Blackberry in regular and zero sugar. It's a pepper thing. Welcome now to the stage, two of the greatest to ever wear the scarlet and gray, Mr. Jack Sawyer. And one of the most electric quarterbacks in Big Ten history, Mr. Braxton Miller. All right. All right, well, let's talk about Texas. And Jack, if you had to pick your favorite play you've ever had against the, counting them all.
Yeah.
All right, so they've been playing football here for more than 100 years. And I've always said that the Scoop and Sawyer is on the Mount Rushmore. It is a top 4 play. So looking back on it now, it's been about 7.5 months. What do you remember about that moment in that play?
Man, I just remember, obviously getting around the edge and, I hit the ball out and everything kind of like went, it goes dark. It goes dark, you're not really thinking in the moment. And I pick the ball up and I look up and see nothing but green grass. And I'm waiting for the whistle to blow, them to say the arm was coming forward. And I started running, my legs felt like there was jello in them. And I just, I was praying for a block because I knew I wasn't going to get there on my own without a block the way I felt running when I picked that ball up. So it was, it was an amazing experience, amazing play. I thank God for the opportunity that he gave to us, being able to know that play helped us punch the ticket to go to the national championship was the most important part about it to me.
And then moments after that play, the broadcast catches your buddy Will Howard. I mean, violently shaking you. Like he's crashing out on the sideline. Do you even remember what was going on in that moment? Do you remember what Will said, or does he remember what he said?
We were laughing on the bus, and I'm like, hey, Will. And he comes back to the back of the bus. I'm like, I don't know what the hell you said. And he started laughing. He's like, I don't either. And, we just laughed and joked about it. They got the picture of it in the Woody, which was cool when we came back after the Combine to see that. And we joked about it again. Still don't know what the hell he was talking about. But it was just a great experience. I mean, Will, the catalyst on the team, too, leading the offense all the way through the playoffs, all the stuff he had to go through, too, before that. So it was a special moment.
Yeah, well, Braxton, man, you are one of, by far, the best players, not just quarterbacks in Ohio State history. 2-time Silver Football Award winner, Heisman Trophy candidates. Every year you was at Ohio State, and also just got inducted to the Hall of Fame here at Ohio State. And soon, I would anticipate,
I didn't even know that. Congrats,
I would anticipate soon
awesome.
to be the College Football Hall of Fame as well with his accolades. But I'm going to speak to existence, but you played in so many big games. You played so many critical situations, especially as a freshman going on the road, your first start. What's the biggest game you played in as a quarterback?
Wow, that's crazy to even ask that right now. Oh, my God. Let me even think about that. I say the biggest game when I felt like the biggest game that I played in was the Penn State game. Remember the day?
2013. 2013.
The 1 yard step back,
yes.
did my thing.
Yeah.
The week before, messed up, got injury. But the week after that, man, came back strong and did my thing, man, and wanted to make a statement. I think that was a crazy atmosphere.
Yeah.
Crazy atmosphere.
Yeah. Coach Mack Brown was just up here talking about atmospheres. He put Ohio State versus Texas back in 2005, the top atmosphere he ever been in.
That's
Penn
right.
State is up there. I think, being a part of
For sure.
4 years with you being a part of that's definitely up there. 2 times when you made that crazy play. Another year later, a few years later, J.T. Barrett, overtime win with crazy atmospheres. Always a great time. Now, Arch Manning is getting ready to walk into a crazy atmosphere.
That's right.
What can he expect going into the shoe here in about 15 hours?
Oh, man, he going to be nervous. He going to be nervous. You know that. You know how we rock, man. You know how Buckeye Nation rock, man. Ain't that right, y'all?
Yeah, for sure.
Here we go. Here we go.
Yeah. There we go.
All day long.
For sure.
That's what I'm talking about, man. Shout out to you, my dog. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. No, I would anticipate both quarterbacks being young, inexperienced guys, highly recruited guys. Clearly, Arch got a little bit more playing experience, getting into some mop-up duties, and some other big-time situations when he had to start versus New Mexico State last year for the Longhorns. But this is Julian's first go-round. Right?
That's right.
You shared the locker room with Julian for a year, Jack. Is it something do you think this moment is going to be too big for him?
No, I don't think the moment's going to be too big for him at all. I think that, this whole offseason, him knowing that it's his job to lose, his job to come in here, and it's his team to kind of galvanize around him. And I think that, from talking to coaches and the players, they feel great. They feel great about Julian's progress. He put some weight on. He's a smart kid, can sling it around the yard all day long. I'm excited for him. I can't wait for him to step in there. And, there's some doubters. There's some guys that kind of question his ability. And I'm looking forward to him going out there and prove everybody wrong and go out there and have a great game. And I know Coach Day is not going to let him be in positions where he can't excel.
Yeah, exactly.
And so for me, I think that knowing, what I anticipate the game plan being, I anticipate that, being able to him go out there and do what he does and be able to get the job done.
Yeah, what was really interesting about this team last year is these guys getting ready for the NFL draft, NFL Combine, 14 guys getting drafted, including yourself and 13 other guys. They was getting questions about Julian Sand, and then those guys, the way they was talking about this guy, I'm like, man, what should he been a starting quarterback last year?
Yeah, they're talking like the magic arm. I mean, and it's going to be his first start, Braxton. I think your first start, I want to say, was Colorado 2011. It was kind of like in the middle of the season, right? Early.
Yeah, I think like game 3 or something like that.
Yeah,
game
so it's
3
like
or 4.
first month. Do you remember what it was like leading up to making your first start? I mean, were you freaking out on a Friday afternoon like this?
Oh no, man. No, man. Being able to, be around older guys growing up. My brother's older, so being able to get accustomed to that at a young age, man, no stage bigger than me. I mean, bigger than what I ever played on. You know what I'm saying? So being able to play as a freshman in high school, being able to come in here and, wait a couple games, didn't play as a freshman, I have fun.
Yeah.
Never nervous. Never had anxiety about it, but, man, let's go out there and ball out.
One thing I can say about Braxton, Dave, he was always calm, cool, and collected. We played against each other in high school, and he was the exact same way. These guys, they jumped out on us.
Who won that game?
Yeah,
who won?
We had to serve him up.
No, don't do that.
He's spanked?
They jumped out on us 14-0. No. They jumped out. Jack, they jumped out on us.
He's 0-2 against both of us up here. His school is anyway. I didn't play him in high school, obviously, but we played Dayton Wayne too.
Yeah, so they jumped out on us 14-0. You blinked, and it was 56 to like 28 or something like that, real quick. But it was cool, calm, and collected. Braxton still had a great game that game, and then I fast forward a year and a half later, I'm able to be sharing a room with him in the quarterback room, and all the tough situations we've been in at Ohio State, if it's just even as a practice, I'm like, do this guy even sweat? Like, he just always been cool, calm, and collective, and was a guy that we looked up to and fed off his energy. And he was never a big talker. He'd just go out there and pretty much let his play do himself. And then I think it worked out for you a little bit.
Jack, it's funny, Jack, because last year you were preparing to play your guy, Quinn Ewers, the guy that you took the ball from. Did you guys prep Arch Manning at all just in case? Did you watch film on him? Like, what do you know about Arch Manning?
Yeah, we knew we expected to see him a little more than we even did. We thought they were going to try to use him in certain spots of the game. Obviously, when we knew when he got in the game, they were going to try to use his legs, and they tried that. Obviously, Lathan came down, laid a big hit on him, and that was all we saw of him from the night. But we did. We game planned for him. We expected to see him a little more, maybe, just to try to give our defense a different look more than they did. And we saw him one time, so we game planned for him. Pretty extensively, but we didn't really see much of him.
I think that was Texas' game plan, too, to try to get him involved in some of those third and short situations until that hit happened, because I don't know if he was concussed, but he was definitely dazed after that hit, because when they did the fumble review and they clearly zooming in on Arch on the sideline, he did not look like himself.
Right, so and he's a bigger dude, can run. We thought we were going to see him all night in third and shorts. Maybe a fourth down, then 4th and 1.
That one play changed it.
That one play changed it,
yeah. And you didn't get a chance to defend your title, but unless you won a Lombardi with the Steelers, then maybe we'll count that as going back-to-back. Cardale, you know what it's like trying to defend a title. All right, it's hard to get there once. Ohio State the last couple times couldn't repeat. So what are the challenges that you guys faced when you had to come back and try to do it again?
I mean, first and foremost, every week you're getting everybody's best chance, and every week is their Super Bowl when they play Ohio State. It doesn't matter if it's Marshall, it doesn't matter if it's Texas, it doesn't matter if it's a Big Ten opponent. Every week they have an opportunity to go out there and say, we knocked off Ohio State. And trying to defend that national title, now you just put more fuel to their fire. Not just our Super Bowl, but to knock off the defending national champs. I remember in 2015 as we went up to Virginia Tech for the rematch, and all pregame, they were playing highlights of the game before, and their players were doing interviews like, we really the national champs. We the only team that beat them last year. So you're getting everybody best chance, and then when you come out there and defending that one thing that everybody want, they want that even that much more to knock you off.
Yeah, Braxton, what are you looking forward to most about this matchup tomorrow?
Oh, man, excitement. I want to see the battle, man. Being able to go out there and see the silver bullets fly around. You know how it is, Jack.
Absolutely.
You know how it is, man.
Some young silver bullets.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Some young gunners out there, man. Being able to see the JJ go out there and, dominate out there on the outside, and being able to see Julian slinging around, man. We want to see an air show.
Well, speaking of JJ, I think I'm spotting another future Ohio State great, Chris Henry Jr. out there in the crowd. So, man, if you guys didn't see him last week, he went off versus St. Thomas Aquinas out there in modern day. So
I watched it on
another,
ESPN.
it's another JJ in the making.
Crazy.
It's kind of wild the star power we have in the crowd out here right now. I saw JT Tuimola. We got JT Barrett out there. You said Chris Henry Jr. out there.
Yeah.
Jack, tell us about the guys who are back on this D-line because they lost you. They lost Tuimola. I mean, they lost a lot of talent to the NFL. We know these guys are good. We've heard the names. I mean, Caden Curry's been just chilling, waiting for this chance.
Yep.
We know Edric Houston could be the next big thing on the interior. What can you tell us about the guys who are back on the D-line? Because it's a concern to us, but I think it's more because we just don't know what they can actually do in live game.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm most excited for. I'm excited to see our D-line, who guys who've been around the program for a while, been waiting for the opportunity, been busting their ass for the last 3 years, and now it's their time to shine. And I'm excited for Kenyatta. I'm excited for Caden McDonald, Edric Houston, and Caden Curry, and all those guys to get out there and get a chance to get out to the best team in the country, supposedly. That the rankings said at home in the shoe after our national championship. I'm excited for them. I'm happy for those guys. They've earned it. And, I know they're going to go out there and put a good product on the field. I'm so excited to see it.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what happens tomorrow. Braxton, you've had some good, talented guys that you got to throw the ball to, for sure, guys who went to the NFL. But when you look at Jeremiah Smith, I mean, the guy was built in a laboratory. I mean, Jack, you played with him. You can vouch.
Crazy.
I mean, you guys put your whole season in the hands of a teenager.
Yeah.
I mean, on that.
And we do that again and again and again and again.
Yeah, Braxton, when you look at JJ, what is it that jumps out that makes him so much better than all these other greats who even came before him?
Man, he just so calm and collective when he's out there, man. Every play, he don't give up. You know, seeing that guy out there, man, just dominate seniors when he's a freshman, that brings me chill a little bit. You know, being able to see that and him step up to the plate and live up to his name. You know, being able to go out there and play with a dominant force, man, that's crazy. Seeing him as a freshman doing that, I haven't seen that since. You know what I'm saying? I haven't seen that.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, and he's living up to it, man, day in, day out.
But when you watch the way that he prepares, like last year when he came in, you would have thought he was an all-pro guy already, been in the NFL. The way he prepared and took care of his body, the way he got after in the weight room, it was unreal. Like, didn't say much, nice kid, put his head down and just worked. And we all, like, once we saw that, we respected him from day one, and we knew that, you know, we put the pads on spring, and we saw what he was capable of, and we were like, damn. Yeah, this guy's going to be on the field.
The dude got his freaking black stripe taken off the first day of spring ball.
Was it the first day?
The first day of spring ball. The thing, how I really start to evaluate these players that's coming into any program is really how the weight staff talk about them.
Yeah. From
day one, like Jack said, just his work ethic. And I think one thing that really impressed myself with Lincoln Kingholz is that he was an Iron Buckeye throughout the summer, which isn't something that usually a quarterback is getting. You're looking at guys like yourself, defensive linemen, linebacker, tight ends, maybe running backs getting those type of things because your guys are known as bruisers and grinders. But when you hear the name a quarterback position, or you hear some of the things that Coach Mick and that staff say about JJ and some of these guys, especially so early in their career, it's easy for me to expect greatness because if they're doing it off the field, I can only imagine what's about to happen on the field and the type of success these guys are going to have.
Yeah, to be an Iron Buckeye as a true freshman is unheard of. And you guys can vouch for this. Ohio State, with the black stripe, with everything, they don't hand things to true freshmen. I mean, they don't make it easy on it. They make you earn it.
There used to be a rule where no freshmen were able to be a goal guy. And JJ got there, and we scrapped that.
Yeah.
Scrapped that.
It's the JJ rule now.
We're like, yeah, we're all good with that. He's a goal guy. There's no doubt about it. We're good.
Yeah, Braxton, you had to go in as a true freshman. I mean, you can at least vouch for, quarterback, more pressure than a wide receiver, what it was like. I mean, were you impressed by just the composure he showed, being a go-to guy at such a young age?
Man, I think it's probably the way that he has a why. The why he's going out there dominating, the way he's going out there understanding the way he got to go out there and put a show on for himself and his family. So I just say, man, the pressure is not there for him at all. I think he want to outdo himself. And this year, I think he's going to do that. All
right, we got our Dr. Pepper predictions from the guys in the last block. I want to get yours. So Dr. Pepper prediction for tomorrow, Jack Sawyer. Who wins and why?
I say we win 31-28. I think our D-line, I think it's a good game. It's a good battle. I think it comes down to the last couple possessions. I think we pull away at the end.
Braxton, your Dr. Pepper prediction?
I'll say 27-21.
How long? 20. So Ohio State wins.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Just what I'm talking about.
I ain't going against us, man. Come on, man.
If any of us three said to Texas, they'd be getting their ass walked out of Columbus right on the stage.
So, Jack, how much are you going to keep up on this? Now that you're with the Pittsburgh Steelers, you're a little busy here doing the NFL thing, but, I mean, you're still going to try to get back here on the bye weeks and such?
I mean, as much as I can. I mean, I love Columbus being, growing up 15 minutes down the road. I mean, coming back here, it's just, feels like home. It is home for me. So I'm going to be back as much as I can, but obviously I got some things to take care of too.
Yeah, a little bit more important things to handle, though.
But I'll be watching every Saturday night. I'll be tuned in. I'll be keeping up with the guys, checking in here and there if they need anything. So I'll definitely be tuned in.
Yeah, Cardale, we've talked about tomorrow a lot of matchups. Is there a key matchup that you look at and you think the game could come down to this?
Yeah, Coach Brown made a comment earlier about Texas breaking in 4 new starting offensive linemen, and then looking at that matchup versus we're breaking in pretty much 4 new inexperienced but older defensive linemen as well, especially with a guy like C.J. Hicks making that move to a full-time defensive end. So that battle right there, I'm going to give us the edge on that battle because there's not as much communication, and Jack, stop me if I'm wrong, that needs to happen with the defensive line versus all the communication that needs to happen with the 5 guys up front to try to stop those 4. So that's the matchup I'm looking forward to really seeing. We know Arch Manning is their all-world kind of quarterback and putting a lot on his shoulders, but it's hard to execute at a high level. It's hard to execute at a high level when you're getting up off your back every play.
Yeah, Braxton, give me something to look for tomorrow.
Oh, man.
Like a matchup, a position, something you're looking forward to.
I just want to say, Jew, throw it around, man. Throw it around. Yeah. At least give it to the guys so they get out in space and make a play. That's all you got to do. Yeah. Just control the Bentley.
That's all you got to do. Just get the ball out quick.
That's it.
It's funny, Jack, you and I have talked about this, where last year after the Michigan game, a lot of people were out on Ryan Day. You stuck by him. He wins a national title. What was it about Ryan Day that you knew he was the guy to lead this program?
I mean, he's, his record's the best in college football right now, and it's that way for a reason. He's resilient, he's tough, he cares about us, and we do things the right way. And I mean, I've never seen a guy work so hard at what he does, but at the same time be able to step back when we get off the field and be able to actually care for us. And we need this or that, he's going to take care of it. He's going to make sure it gets done. And that's the leader he is and the man he is, on and off the field, is why we all had so much respect for him and why we were able to go out there and lay it all out there for him day in and day out, no matter what anyone that wasn't a part of what we were doing was saying. We knew that, it was just our time was coming, and we just had to stick by him because, he stuck by us through everything. And he always took the grunt of it, too, when at the end of the day, we're the guys out there playing. You know what I mean? It's not fair to say, the blame's on him. We're the ones out there playing. Put it on us. But, he always took it and took it on the chin like a man. And, man, we love that guy so much and respect him so much, and that's why we always stuck with him.
Yeah, I love that. Cardale, what do you think about tomorrow? I mean, so we have Sawyer against Arch Manning. We have new running backs. We have new wide receivers. Something that we haven't talked a lot, though, on the show about is new coordinators. Brian Hartline's been here for almost a decade, and he's kind of had this job-ish in a way in the past. But going to Matt Patricia, who hasn't been on a college sideline since he was an assistant at Syracuse more than 20 years ago. How do you think the transition goes from Matt Patricia from NFL to college football?
Well, it always helps when you got great players. I think great players really are the definition. You start there with great coaches, and I think it starts from the back end with the guys like Caleb and IGB and Jermaine Matthews walking into a full-time role. And then it's going to trickle down to those younger guys and those guys who are taking over bigger roles like Sonny Style, Arvell Reese, and then clearly the lack of experienced defensive lines, but these guys have been there for 3 to 4 years. So I think you just you don't have to be complicated with these guys. You don't have to be complicated. I think you're in a very favorable matchup, like I said before, with Texas breaking in 4 new offensive linemen of a big unknown there by really just going out there and really seeing what you got on defense versus trying to recreate the wheel.
I know a lot of guys and fans are fed up with the noon kicks, and I do get it. Braxton, you played for a coach in Urban Meyer, who loved noon kicks because he said he hated sitting around and tapping his foot all day waiting for 8 p.m.
All the noon kickoffs.
Oh, Urban hated the prime times because he said he wanted to get the ball kicked off and get it over. Where do you come down on noon, 3:30, 7, 8? What's your ideal kick time?
Oh, man, personally,
yeah,
I love the night games. Mm-hmm.
Prime
time is just different, man. Underneath the lights, the energy is just different.
Yeah.
Being able to, it's always the same. Freaks come out at night. And that's what it is, man. All the best players, they dominate on the top of their scale at the stage where prime time. And that's where it's
It don't get no bigger. It don't get no bigger.
Noon, I mean,
and plus, man, if you were there at the game when we played Tennessee in the
Tennessee.
shoe.
Yeah.
At night, that was the best
Yeah,
atmosphere
I mean-
I've ever been a part of at the
Yes.
shoe.
By far.
I think, selfishly, but I mean, the night games, the build-up,
Yeah,
the
man,
fans are
just-
hanging around for hours and hours. The build-up, I think it's the best. It's the best time to kick
Yeah,
off.
I remember
too.
late first quarter against Tennessee. I turned to the guy next to me in the press box. I said, they're going to mess around and win the national title. Like, you could feel it that night. It was like the script had been flipped that night, and
No
the
pun
crowd was
intended.
hot. Yeah, the script podcast, yeah. Yeah, it had been flipped, but yeah, what a run you guys had. Hey, everyone, let's give it up one more time for Jack Sawyer and Braxton Miller. Special thanks again to our sponsors. Of course, Buckeye Basement Solution, Prime Sportsbook, by the way, has the Buckeyes as a 1-point favorite tomorrow on Prime Sportsbook. Wendy's as well, and Dr. Pepper. Make sure you try that new Dr. Pepper Blackberry. It's bottled right here in Columbus, regular and sugar-free. It's a pepper thing. That'll do it for us here on this special live in-person edition of The Script, a podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. For Beanie Wells, Mack Brown, Vince Young, Jack Sawyer, Braxton Miller, and Cardale Jones, I'm Dave Holmes. Make sure you like us or subscribe on YouTube, Apple Pod, or Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts.
Go Bucks.
Go Bucks.
The Buckeyes.
OH.